Thank you for that. It was successful. We just pray that he'll continue to be able to breathe easier. With all those that are out of town today, he's going to take travels back. Be with Janie as she's continuing to heal. In Jesus' name, amen.
Speaking of Janie, shouldn't we transfer? We need to be doing food for her, don't we?
We've offered.
I've offered.
What's going on with Janie?
She broke her pelvis.
How?
Segway accident at Garden of God. So I stay
Colorado.
vacation.
Really?
So, yeah, it's not good.
Oh, man.
hope she
wasn't way down the trail.
Well, yeah,
Out there with-
but, oh, no, yeah.
It's been there a few times.
Yeah, so
Well, we need to get her.
she's gonna, Kenny's there, he's working out the house, but,
Well, Sally Ann's coming on.
they'll sit, I mean, Sally Adams there with her earlier in the week, but.
So how'd they get her back to the?
It's getting scarier.
She came and fixed, they got it deep out and get it.
That had to be a rough ride back.
Can you imagine?
Break a pelvis? Yikes.
Yeah,
If
they're
she
fractured.
breaks, and then she got a fractured elbow too, so she can't, like, use a standard walker,
I told her. So her pelvis, her elbow and her foot? Is that what you said?
this elbow.
Elbow. Two in her pelvis.
Two places. in the pelvis.
Good grief.
She's in a wheelchair for 3 more weeks.
So she needs food.
I'll take something to her this week.
Yeah, I'm fine. You don't need to make me food anymore. She took care of me.
Yeah, she's not cooking, that's for sure.
Man.
Whatever.
Anyway, we're talking about you,
So you did.
JD. What?
You did have your procedure.
Yes, on Monday. The whole hospital was on generator. They didn't change anything, just went in and did it.
Did it go well?
He came out and he said, you were in atrial flutter, it's gone. So yes, he said it's a success. I can't tell you about the breathing. That may take some time. And it may not do it, because that may not be what was causing it. But you were definitely in this and you're not anymore. So he was pretty pumped. And my breathing was marginally improved, if at all. Which is all I care about. But the heart rate and stuff is down, and so at least I'm not elevating my stroke risks. All right, we are in God's speech to Job. Is where we are. We did the first round where God looked at Job, said, really, he actually does this. Do you have an arm like I do? And of course, he's talking out of a tornado, which is not conducive to a gentle exchange of ideas. He's setting the agenda pretty clearly. And then we get Job's response here. Let's just read this. Renee, would you read this for me?
You're gonna have to make that.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, I need my glasses. You got 3 things.
Yeah, do you want all 3 of those?
No, I'll get.
Like to hear the Hebrew version, Renee.
Is that too small?
No. All right, and the Lord said to Job, shall a fault finder contend with the Almighty? He who argues with God, let him answer it.
How do you understand that?
Like, who do you think you are? Is what,
This is not, I do not see here an invitation to a dialogue. I see an invitation to a dress down. let him answer. So let's see how Job
Is that
responds.
For us too?
What?
Is that just for Job or is that for us too?
Well, we'll find out. Read for me, Jeff.
Then Job
Oh,
answered
Renee.
the Lord and said, behold, I am of small account. What shall I answer?
Okay, so his first response is, oops. Yeah,
I lay my hand on my mouth. I have spoken once and I will not answer twice.
I will not answer.
I-
Twice.
Sorry. But I will proceed no further.
And the Lord says, no, 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 no. You do not get off that easy. And he's going to start a long speech. Where he's going to compare, he's going to talk about supernatural entities. Look, you could explain an ostrich. That was the first speech. Now we're going to talk about Behemoth and Leviathan. How dare you? Behemoth, reading on the translations, it's actually the plural for the word animal. So it's just the word animals. Is it a particular creature? It's a supernatural one, whatever it is. So it's not a crocodile. It's not a hippopotamus. It's not whatever fill in the blank that you'll read. They're misunderstanding what's going on. He did natural creatures in the first speech. He's doing supernatural creatures in the second speech. And if you couldn't do the natural, you sure as heck aren't going to do the supernatural. So let's just see how it goes. And again, it's out of the whirlwind. I just love this. Out of the whirlwind. Jeff Reed.
Dress for action like a man. Get ready.
Put on your football pads.
Mine from the Princess Bride.
Let's get going.
Advised do not be.
Princess Bride's great flick.
I will question you and you make it known to me. Will you even put me in the wrong?
Okay. It can be stronger. How dare you try to put me in the wrong? That's the idea here.
Will you condemn me that you may be in the right? Have you an arm like God?
It was a little more when I was 20 years younger and lifting. But not anymore. But anyway, I love that. Do you have an arm like me? Oh, wow.
And can you thunder with a voice like his?
He says, out of a whirlwind. What we just went through Sunday night.
Adorn yourself with majesty and dignity. Clothe yourself with glory and splendor.
Hard.
Pour out the overflowings of your anger and look on everyone who is proud and obeys him. Look on everyone who is proud and bring him low and tread down the wicked where they stand. Hide them all in the dust together, bind their faces in the world below. Then will I also acknowledge to you that your own right hand can save you.
If you can't take care of human sinners, for lack of a better word, on what basis are you challenging me?
Behold the Homer.
Behemoth.
Which I made.
All right, wait. Might as well see what the ESV does here. Large animal, exacted identity unknown. Exactly right. So it's and like I said, it's probably a supernatural entity.
But he must have met something big.
That's the way we use it. Now, just so it won't drive me nuts, behemoth. Behemoth. That's the way that's pronounced.
Which I made as I made you. He eats grass like an ox. Behold, behold, his strength in the groin, and his power in the muscles of his belly. He makes his tail stiff like a cedar. The sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are tubes of bronze, his limbs like bars of iron. He is the first of the work of God. Let him who made him bring near his sword. For the mountains yield food for him, where all the wild beasts play.
Yeah, we're gonna start our line dancing.
Line dancing. Here I am, so good. Alright, took a minute to get up, so I'm gonna go. I just started a few minutes ago, what happened to you?
What happened? Let's hear the story.
Wreck. Was not appreciating my age enough.
Oh.
There.
Segway tour through the Garden of Gods, and I got going downhill. It was in the mountains, I'd segway before on flat surfaces and everything. Well, apparently you can.
Now I can put that all together, now I can see that stuff.
I've never been to Garden of Gods, so I didn't know it was like this, right? And so I got going downhill and couldn't slow down and I knew how to do like an emergency brake, but I had 3 people behind me and I knew if I did that, they were gonna run over the back of me, and in the meantime, I'm running up over the front of the person in front of me, and so I thought, well, if I could just get out like this, then I could brake, but over here is also cars. And so I was trying to get out so I could, and it all happened like that. I was trying to get out so I could brake, and I don't know if the guy in front of me scooted at the same time I was scooting, or if I just didn't scoot wide enough that we put tires and threw into the traffic, into the oncoming traffic. Almost getting hit by a car. It was nice.
So- So when I look at you in the wheelchair and stuff, is it safe to say that you were lucky?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They told me I fractured my pelvis in 2 places. Ryan looked at my hospital notes yesterday and said, Mom, they told you 2 places? And I said, yeah, she goes, oh no, there's 4 places that you have fractures. So I have 4 fractures on my pelvis and my elbow is fractured. And, but I have all my teeth. Did you have on a helmet? Yeah.
I gotta go to the restaurant, I'll be right back.
In the springs, they did not want to cast my arm because I need to be able to use it to walk and get in and out of my chair. It's not a display. None of them are displaced. They're all like. And so
So
the
they'll just
goal is
heal on their own, they won't
they'll
do
heal
anything
on their
for
own,
you.
but the goal is for them till July 11th. I can't do anything that might make anything in my pelvis or this, or I have to have surgery.
So, did y'all drive back, I assume, or?
Well, they hollered up for a Jeep to come and get me. That took about 30 minutes, and then they Jeeped me back, and Kenny had to segue back down the hill, and
I'm thinking the Jeep ride wasn't a smooth.
I thought I was okay. I'm pretty sure it was adrenaline. I thought I was okay. I was like, I'm fine, I just need to walk it off. I knew I figured I had broken my arm. So I'm like, I just gotta walk this off, So I was walking around, I was fine. I got in the Jeep by myself and it was really tall. Got out of the Jeep by myself, it was really tall. And then I went and sat in like a pop-up camper chair, waiting for Kenny to get back down the hill. And then when he got down the hill, I could not get up out of the chair. I couldn't stand, I couldn't do anything.
So did y'all drive home from Colorado Springs?
Mhm.
So how was that ride?
That was not a good time.
And you're still married.
It's still fun.
But I think with those pain pills that they give you really help.
I have good pain pills. In fact, I've got some in my head.
So listen, when I
Will you be
broke
handing
my
them
back,
out after this?
when I broke my back in 2 places, but I only had 2, not 4, I went to Six Flags the next day.
I was gonna say, yeah, you were.
Remember?
Yeah,
We were
together.
You didn't ride any rides?
No,
you were in pain.
Yeah,
Okay.
oh, I
Yeah.
was miserable, but
Yeah. I do
the
remember.
car ride was terrible.
Yeah, the car braking is not fun. And speed bumps are really
Oh,
bad.
man.
Sneezing's bad.
And I've coughed on a piece of chicken.
That hurts too.
Oh my gosh.
So we have wheelchairs and oxygen in here.
We are no longer the young officers class.
Yeah, I'm retiring from anything we can do.
So let us make food for you, Janie. So they made food for me. Well,
I mean, he's gonna
Sh-
read that
shut
decision
up.
because it's him that-
it is necessary, not for you, for us. It's not for you. It's for us to feel like we're helping. Said the man who's not gonna lift a single finger to do this.
You like
Though her chicken's pretty good. Meanwhile,
Get back to 19. So,
let's get back to BMS.
go up, go. There's just some of the timing. So he is the first of the works of God, or I mean, is that literal?
Well,
What is,
he's talking about
what is
a mythical creature, meaning it's not in our time frame. So we don't know. It would help if we could identify.
Does it translate the first way it's actually translated out?
Oh, yeah. Right here. Race sheet first. He is the first. Look at down at the beginning. The lower left. Beginning. First.
For the mountains yield food for him, where all the wild beasts play. Under the lotus plants he lies.
So people are thinking hippopotamus, lotus, but we just don't know. But it's not, and this is my point. All those conversations have missed the point. This is not an earthly creature. Okay,
In the shelter of the reeds and in the marsh.
oh, sorry.
For his shade to cover him. The willows of the brooks around.
Okay, we're
I'm
gonna,
not gonna let you run the slide for the sound.
okay, we're gonna lower that a little bit.
You know,
It's that big, you gotta keep it moving.
That's right.
we'll be lost with our music here in the back. When Scott is doing that.
Verse 22.
For his shade, the lotus trees cover him, the willows of the brooks surround him. Behold, if the river is turbulent, he is not frightened. He is confident that Jordan rushes against him. Can one take him by his eyes or pierce his nose with a snare? Can you draw out?
Now we're in Leviathan. Okay, so we're switching, just midstream. So whatever we know about Behemoth, that's it. But the point is, you can't limit him in any fashion. And I made him. So where do you get off trying to come after me? The whole thing is really bizarre. Especially in light of 40, what God says next after his speech. But go ahead. Julie, we'll let you read about Leviathan.
41.
Can you draw out? What? Leviathan.
Press down his tongue with his word. Will you put a rope in his nose or pierce his jaw with a hook? Will he make many pleas to you? Will he speak to you soft words? Will he make a covenant with you to take him for your servant forever? Will you play with him with a bird, or will you put him on a leash for your girls? Will traders bargain over him? Will they divide him up among the merchants? Can you fill his skin with harpoons or his head with fishing spears? Lay your hands on him. Remember the battle. You will not do it again. Behold, the hope of a man is false. He is laid low even at the sight of him.
That sentence makes no sense. I know what the words mean. I know they go together, but I have no idea what he's saying. Okay. Just so, if you read that, you go, I don't understand. You're not alone. Nobody does. What is he saying? What is the author saying? We don't know. We just don't know. It's deep.
One is so fierce that he dares to stir him up. Who then is he who can stand before me? Who has first given to me that I should repay him? Whatever is under the full heaven is mine. I will not keep silence concerning his limbs or his mighty strength or his godly or goodly frame. Who can strip off his outer garment? Who would come near him with a bridle?
With a bridle.
Who can open the torch of his face? Around his feet is terror. That his back is made of rows of shields, shut up closely as with a seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They clasp each other and cannot be separated. His sneezing flash forth light, and his eyes are like the eyelids of dawn.
All right, this is where we get the hint. That's fire breathing. Keep going.
Out of his mouth go flaming torches, sparks of fire. Out of his nostrils comes forth smoke, as from a boiling pot and burning rushes. His breath kindles coals, and a flame comes forth from his mouth.
Now, I'm much like that on some Saturday mornings, but he's describing a fire breathing dragon. What's going on? Go ahead.
Interconnected by the spring, and folds of his flesh stick together, firmly cast on him and his wood. His heart is hard as a stone, hard as the lower millstone. When he raises himself up, the mighty are afraid. As it crashes, they are beside themselves. Though the sword reaches him, it does not avail, nor the spear, the dart, or the javelin. He counts iron as strong, and bronze as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. For him, sling stones are turned to stubble. Clubs are counted as stubble. He laughs at the brattle of javelins. His underparts are like a sharp potsherds. He spreads himself like a threshing sled on the mire.
You know what a threshing sledge is?
I don't know what a pot third is.
Potsherd just means piece of broken pottery, which is everywhere in the ancient Near East. It's just everywhere. If you go to Israel, Syria, I don't care. You'll see broken pots everywhere. It's 3,000 or 4,000 years of people breaking pots. And it looks like gravel, but it's just there everywhere.
So people been breaking stuff for
A long time.
Nothing so bad.
No. And threshing sledge, this is how they separate the wheat from the stalk. And they run a sled over it and it rolls it and separates it. But they're doing it on the mire, which is it's not normally where you do that.
He makes the deep boil like a pot. He makes the sea like a pot of ointment. Behind him he leaves the shining away. One would think the deep to be white haired.
So he's often associated with water. We have several references to Leviathan with water. So apparently it's a sea dwelling creature. Think Loch Ness. Okay.
On earth there is not his like, a creature without fear. He sees everything that is high. He is king over all the sons of pride.
That's it. No, that's just it. It stops. And now Job's going to say something. Prideful people. It's not like it's a fight game. No. Per se. No. All right. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that you can do all things, and that no purpose of yours can be thwarted. Who is this that hides counsel without knowledge? He's quoting earlier. Job is quoting God. God said this earlier. And then Job responds I have uttered what I did not understand, things too wonderful for me, which I did not know. Hear and I will speak. I'll question you when you make it known to me. Again, Job is quoting God. And Job says, this is the key to the whole book. I had heard of you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eye sees you. This is what the book of Job is all about. And therefore I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. I thought I knew. I did not. And when I met you, I went, oh. And that's it. After the Lord had spoken these words to Job, the Lord spoke to Eliphaz the Temanite. My anger burns against you and against your two friends, for you have not spoken to me what is right, as my servant Job has. Now he just got through yelling at him for 4 chapters. This is you kind of go, Now therefore, take 7 bulls, 7 rams. Go to Job and have him offer burnt offerings for you. And my servant Job shall pray for you, for I accept his prayer, not to deal with you according to your folly. For you have not spoken to me what is right, as my servant Job has. Twice he says that. And it's from the Lord, so we know it's true. And what they didn't say anything that was counter to what normal wisdom said. And so he's telling them context matters. And in this context, you were not right. So Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite went and did what the Lord had told them. And the Lord accepted Job's prayer. Okay. And the Lord restored the fortunes of Job when he had prayed for his friends. And the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before, and gave him all his brothers and sisters, all who had known him before, and ate bread with him in his house. And they showed him sympathy and comforted him for all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. That's got to go in your theological pipe, and you've got to smoke it. You just go, but God doesn't do evil.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought he allowed Satan to, wasn't that what happened at the first of the chapter? That Satan.
And remember how Job held God accountable for that? And then the author said Job was not wrong. Remember we talked about that? Yes, Satan was the actual tool. But if God could stop it and he didn't, he was responsible. Too soon for segue jokes, I won't.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna do them.
And each of them gave him a piece of money and a ring of gold. And the Lord blessed the latter days of Job more than its beginnings. And then what you get are exactly twice as much, 14,000, 6,000, 1,000, and so forth. He also had 7 sons, 3 daughters. The other kids were dead. Notice it's not 14 sons and 6 daughters. It's the same number. And this has invited speculation about views of the afterlife, but we can't tell. So is it, he's got twice as much because the others are still alive? Who knows? And the first daughter he called Jimmy Ma, the second kid's Ya, and the third Karen Hapuk. So there's your first Karen. Really tough crowd. And in all the land, there are no women so beautiful as Job's daughters. And their father gave them an inheritance among the brothers, which is unheard of. That does not happen. And after this, Job lived 140 years, saw his sons and his sons' sons, 4 generations. And Job died an old man full of days. So, to me, verse 5 is the point of the book. I'd heard you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eyes see you. This actually happened to Thomas Aquinas, famous church father, and he had an experience with God. So he just goes, everything I've done up to now is dust. And he repents of it. And then he dies shortly after. He just didn't know what the heck. So with Job and with us, going through something is not the same as watching somebody go through it. And we have to be patient about that. And what God's telling people, I find it interesting that the friends didn't do anything but quote essentially the teaching of Moses concerning wisdom and everything. And God said, you were wrong. Because it's not the content of the word, it's the total package, context and everything else. And you were not in the right there. And then even when you are in the right, God's going to yell at you. I mean, that's what he does. He yells at Job. He just kind of going. So Job is a deep, deep book. And it's not easily understood, but it gives you much to think about. So we're going to turn from this to Ecclesiastes. Have you ever done Ecclesiastes? Interesting book. And that'll be fun. It'll be another moment. And right now, though, we're supposed to go for our all church donut fest. So we're going to close and go join them. Stop sharing. Stop recording.